Hello. Today I'm going to talk about the new song by a new group in K-pop called NewJeans, and it's called Attention. I'm not someone who's really been into K-pop intensely for a minute. Well, I should say actually, I used to be really into K-pop, kind of fell out of it a couple years ago, so I listened to things casually here and there. This song was something that I found that I really liked, so I wanted to discuss why it popped out to me and why it sounds so nostalgic to me. I think that the song and this concept kind of bring back a lot of aspects from the 90s and the early 2000s that's kind of like popular right now. Thought it would be fun to discuss and to talk about musically and conceptually why I think that this song is one that evokes a feeling of nostalgia. What's this piano called? E-piano faceplant. This is what the grand piano. Ooh, let me turn the volume up. But anyway, we're gonna start with the composers for this song. The composers are 250 and Duck Bay from Cosmo Studios in Stockholm. As for the lyrics, they were written by Gigi, Duck Bay again, and then Danielle, who is a member of this group. Instrumentals and programming, 250. So the chord progression is what I wanted to start off with because the cadence that's used is quite an angelic one. Basically, the song is in the key of B flat major. The cadence that's used is a major flat 6, a major flat 7, and then a major 1. And this is a nice cadence because it kind of starts off with these two chords that have a lot of tension in them, and you're waiting for them to resolve to something. And because it ends on the 1, it's a nice resolution to the song. The 1 of the song is going to be a B flat major chord because it's in the key of B flat major. That would be the flat 6 of a B flat major chord is gonna be G flat. Not only is it a G flat, but it's a 9th chord, so it's 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, which gives it that jazzy feel. The flat 7 that's used is an A flat 9, and then the 1 that is used is the B flat 9. So jazzy. You got me looking for attention. And that's the structure of the choruses. The second part of the chorus. Because these chords are very stacked, they have not just the 1, the 3, and the 5, which would sound nice. That's like, I mean, it's like a standard like power chord. But when you add those 7th and 9th notes, it sounds very jazzy and it sounds angelic and dreamy almost. So the use of those chords in this song makes it evoke this feeling of reminiscing because it kind of like transports you there, as opposed to the powerful feeling of that. It's just kind of adds this feeling of you're questioning something or you're thinking about something. That's pretty much why the use of these 3 chords feels nostalgic. I can unplug the piano. Maybe my laptop's fan will relax now. Now I wanted to talk about the kind of samples and different sounds that are in the song that kind of make it sound a bit inspired by the 90s or early 2000s. The Hey sample, really it's present all throughout Attention. You hear it in a lot of 80s, yeah, a lot of like 80s, 90s hip hop. Yeah. Though it's not the same hey that's used, obviously. They must have recorded their own for the song, but it's definitely inspired by that hip-hop trend of the 90s, or even, I guess you can hear it now, or even in like the 2010s. A lot of songs have that hey, 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 hey in the background. The next thing that kind of reminded me of this song was this one's kind of a reach. In Snoop Dogg's Nothing But a G thing, the rhythm of his delivery, the flow of it, is kind of similar to the verses of Attention. Snoop Dogg goes 1, 2, 3 into the foe. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door. It kind of reminded me a little bit of you and me, na 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 na. Just very slightly inspired, if at all inspired by that song. I just thought of it like as I was finishing this up, so it's really not something that came to my mind initially, but it did come to my mind, so I thought I should add that. This was something that I thought of a bit more so. You Give Me Butterflies is a similar rhythm to Justin Timberlake and the Neptunes' Senorita. Which part is it? When he does the crowd, what is it called? Call and response. When he does, it feels like something's heating up, can I leave with you? It sounds similar to the You give me butterflies, you know. Not the melody. The melody doesn't sound the same, but the rhythm is quite similar. And I think it's actually similar in their production, and I think it's because the Neptunes made this kind of bouncy keyboard in the same way that this keyboard in Attention is really bouncy. Now, I mentioned chimes. The chimes open up the next sections of the song. What I found in like a lot of, especially pop songs of the late 90s, like the kind of like teen pop scene, like Britney Spears and like Christina Aguilera, they used a lot of chimes to bring in the next section of the song. I have an example, Sometimes. That's so subtle. It's also in the beginning of the song. Yeah, so chimes were present in Attention from the first verse leading into the chorus. I think that's used in music today. I mean, it's something that you really have to listen to or pay attention to, but I just wanted to say that because Whitney. So the chimes bring you into the chorus, which has the haze coming back, very 90s, and then the harmonies come in really clean. So harmonies, of course, a staple for girl groups in general. Like, it's always been, harmonies have always been a big thing for vocal groups, and in the chorus of Attention, they really come in full force with these like stacked harmonies. Reminds me of the 90s girl groups and R&B groups. The next thing, which, oh, I'm so glad I'm finally getting to, there are few things in media that have the same chord progression, and I searched really hard to try and find anything that had the similar flat 6, flat 7, major 1 thing going on. Oh, it was so hard to find. The biggest example that I found was Candy by Mandy Moore, which I'm so glad I could understand is the same chord progression because it's the right concept. I feel like Candy by Mandy Moore is a product of its time, and I love listening to it. It's such a fun song, and it has the same chord progression. Candy by Mandy Moore actually kind of like starts at 1 from the beginning of the song and then moves into 6 and then 7 and then 1, while Attention's chorus starts at the 6 and then the 7 and then the 1. Very similar, same chord progression, not in the same key. Another example, the Super Mario theme song, like the classic one, the one that you think of when you think of Super Mario, uses the same cadence. It's not pop music that's on the radio, of course, but I think that still, even having the same cadence present, is gonna evoke a feeling of nostalgia in some people. Like, if you listen to it here, it's coming. Ooh. Yeah, we love it. I happened to come across a tweet that said that the song Attention felt nostalgic to them because it reminded them of a Tupac song and a MC Lyte song. And I'm so glad that they said this because I had not thought of those songs. They do sound kind of in the same vein as Attention. I would say that Tupac's I Get Around has that same laid back and jazzy feel as Attention. Chords, obviously the 9, the 13, like, we're getting insane here. Those, like I said before, sound very angelic and jazzy, give it this richer texture, and it's such a good song. I think that one thing that was really cool about 90s hip-hop, such good production. The people who are making the music, like P. Diddy and Digital Underground, they were so musically inclined. The lyrics are like fun and of the generation that they're speaking to, while the sound itself is a bit more mature, and I think that was present in 90s hip-hop a lot. MC Lyte's Roughneck. This one has the same hey sample that not the same exact voice, but the hey is very present, and this song is super upbeat. Like, the chord progression isn't the same, but the hype beat and sound is very in the same vein as what Attention is doing. I like that that person in that tweet mentioned that. I'm so glad that they gave these examples. I said that they didn't do a 90s fade out. It would have been corny. They didn't need to do it. But all these things that I've mentioned are, to me, what make the song quite nostalgic and why it kind of felt like an old song even though it's a new song. If there's anything that the song reminds you of, feel free to share. Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about, and I wanted to do this kind of briefly, are the visual aspects of the music video that give it that old feel. Now, visually, there were some clothing choices that were 90s inspired. There was a bandana top in there, and here's Beyonce wearing a similar thing. I think she's performing at a festival, an outdoor concert, but she is here wearing a bandana top, and those have come back, and I think they were worn by different artists of this early 2000s era for sure. And then this here Look at Britney. This is a jersey top, a baggy jersey top, like football or baseball. They didn't wear baseball, like totally different sport than what they were wearing in that video. But essentially what I'm saying is that the oversized jersey top was present. That was a staple. I'd say that's kind of like more mid to early 90s. Yeah, because I feel like oversized shirts were bigger in the early 90s rather than the late 90s. Also, Timberlands. I noticed that these were worn in the music video. I feel like Timberlands kind of, I actually don't really see people wear them anymore, but certainly in the mid 2000s when the 90s fashion kind of came back, in the same way that Y2k is coming back now, the 90s came back like 7 years ago and people were wearing Timberlands like nobody's business. Yeah, I saw them wearing Timberlands in that video and that was very, very 90s to me, in my opinion. The Walkman, I don't know, I never had one. Someone was wearing Walkman headphones in that music video, so it's like older electronics in this throwbacky setting because no one has this anymore, and if they do, it's collecting dust. And then I also saw in the music video there was a scene where they were in front of it's what seemed like a video store, which you don't really see these anymore, like people selling TVs in like a corner store. There were like tube TVs and there was a camcorder that felt very pre Best Buy. At the same time as they had these older electronics present, like the camcorder, as you can see here. They had like newer MacBooks and they had also like iPhones in the music video. So I think the combination of the old and the new not only gave it that like throwback nostalgia 90s Y2k feel, but it gave it a fresh feel as well. There was also some hair that was styled. I mean, like that's just in style right now anyway, but like the thin strands, pin straight bangs, very Y2k. And I included these pictures because it just felt like they had the same vibe as these girl groups. Now this is Dream. Dream did the song He Loves Me, He Loves You Not. It just felt quite similar in like this girl powery sense. I think this was Girls Aloud. But okay, so I wanted to close out by talking about other music videos that kind of had the same maybe color palette and maybe the same themes. So the Spice Girls Wannabe video, very briefly, this intro, like, I mean, totally different setting, but the running into a building, kind of just like having fun. So quintessentially like 90s girl group, like just having fun in the music video. Like Play was another girl group of the early 2000s. I certainly remember seeing like their stuff on like Nickelodeon and in the stores of like Limited 2. It's kind of similar because it's just like them having fun, like they're recording whatever, kind of like documenting their life. Look at the little butterfly. Oh my god. This is so... Stop. Oh my god. So 2000s. I'm obsessed. Oh, it reminds me of Limited 2. That's enough of that video. Another one, here's 3LW, No More. Kind of similar because they're kind of like dancing in like the street and the sidewalk, which is kind of where NewJeans were in like the Attention video. They were kind of walking around town. Choreography in the road. We love it. Yep. We love a street choreography. And finally, their variety of logos is interesting. I'm actually like a fan of their logos. When I looked at their page, their Twitter and whatever, they have a lot of different logos. They have so many different kinds and I've never seen that. When you look up Y2k logo and you look at all of these, they look like the NewJeans logos. It's funny. These sparkles, I think there's a logo with that. I love the bubbly font that's used. Yeah, these are just templates for graphic design, but like, yeah, a lot of the logos that I saw NewJeans using had the same kind of like bubbly text, like the bold, large shadow here. Ah, love it. They have a lot of stuff in their concept that's quite nostalgic. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about for the NewJeans Attention video. I think it's really interesting how well their meshing of the old and the new is. I feel like it's just enough of a throwback where it's not leaning so heavily into it that you feel off put by it. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about for this video. It's a really cool song. The members are like super young. I just hope that they have a good support system. But yeah, I have more nostalgia music content coming. But if you wanted me to talk about anything similar to what I just did in terms of explaining why a new song sounds nostalgic, then let me know. I could probably do that. Thank you for watching this. Bye. The pre-chorus kind of switches into this. I don't really know what key it's in. You give me butterflies, you know. You got me looking for attention. But like, what key is that? Part of me thinks it's in B No. Is it in C, D, E? Maybe it's in B, D, A, B. So maybe it's in A, B, C, D, E.